Okay, we're official. So we're live. Factoring quadratic trinomials where a is not equal to 1. Up until this point, almost always a was 1, right? At least with the trinomials, right? A was always 1. I'm sorry, Caleb, what?
What?
What? What?
What?
Okay, this is my video, right? All right. A quadratic trinomial goes x squared plus something x plus something or minus something or whatever, right? Where x was where a was 1, right? Where a is 1. So can you turn face? So basically, in this case, we're going to start jumping into quadratic trinomials where a is not 1. And the thing we have to do, the first thing we always try, is
this with the graphing them?
we're not graphing, we're just factoring them, okay? All right? We can't graph them because they're not an equation. You can't graph something unless it's an equation. It's got to say y equals. But I'm just giving you just x squared plus something, right? In this case, though, we're going to always, number one, always try to factor out the greatest common factor. So, for example, if I gave you x squared plus, 3x squared plus, what was I going to do? 12x plus 9. All right? A is my 3. You guys all see that? A is my 3. And it is not a 1, right? And the first thing I always ask myself when there is a number in front of the x squared is, can I factor it out of all the terms? Could I? Does 3 go into this and this as well? All right, so what I have to do is I have to factor it out. All right? And then that gives me x squared plus 4x plus 3. Okay? Then I have to ask myself, now I still have a quadratic trinomial. Could I factor this? And yes, I could. Factors of 3 that add to 4. 1 times 3, 1 is 3, 1 plus 3 is 4, right? So I could do this. I have to keep that 3 there. X plus 1 times x plus 3. Does that make sense? You got it? Well, it's pretty straightforward. If a is not 1, then you always try to factor it out first, to try to turn a into 1, and then you factor it, okay? All right, should we try one more, or is that good enough? Is that good enough? Because the next thing is the part that's a little trickier. I'd rather spend the time on the next thing. That's pretty easy. Okay, so that's the first thing you try. Now, if that doesn't work, let's say you have 2x squared minus 7x plus 3. That's a 2. 2x squared minus 7x plus 3. All right, a is 2. And so immediately I try this first. Factor out my greatest common factor. Does 2 go into 7?
No.
No, and it doesn't go into 3, so we're stuck. Now we're going to have to try to factor this quadratic trinomial. Here we go. So I am going to set up my parentheses right away. And remember FOIL?
Yeah.
First,
Outside, inside, last.
outside, inside, last, right? So you're going to start thinking about those terms. To get my first, these are my two firsts, right? This times this has got to equal that. So the big question is, I've got a 2x squared. It's no longer x squared. If it was just x squared, I would put x and x, because x times x is x squared. But it's 2x squared.
2x.
Yeah, so 2x and x, right? That makes sense, right? So my firsts have to be, when I multiply these two together, it has to equal that. My last, when I multiply them together, they have to equal what? 3. Agree with me?
Yeah.
So I'm going to, and it's got to be a positive 3. This is negative 7. If I put positive, positive, would I have any negatives at all?
No.
No. But that means I have to have them the same sign, right? They've got to be both positive, both negative. That's the only way I get a positive 3. Yes? So I've got, since there's a negative, I'm going to put a negative and a negative. Now the question is, I know factors of 3 are either 1 times 3 or 3 times 1. Order matters now. Order matters because of this. Before, it didn't matter. When it's just x times x, you're dealing with the same, just x, right? So it didn't matter whether it was 1 times 3 or 3 times 1. Order does matter now, right? Because I could do this, 1 times 3, or I could do this. Well, let me leave some space. Or I could do this, 2x minus 3 times x minus 1. Both of those would give me this term and this term. The question is, will it give me, which one will give me this term? And remember, my middle is this, my outside plus my inside. You with me? Right?
Yeah.
Lee, you watching, dude? Okay. Your outside plus your inside. So let's try it. Our outside, what is 2x times negative 3?
2x minus
Negative 6x?
Negative 6x. What is negative x times x?
Positive x?
Negative 1x, right? What does that add up to?
Wait,
Negative 7x.
Negative 7x, right? With me? What?
Isn't an x times an x and x squared?
Yeah, but it's not an x times an x. My outside is 2x times negative 3. I'm not doing, all I care about right now, I know that this times this is this, and I know that this times this is this. I care about what is my outside plus my inside, does it equal the middle term? And it does, so this is the answer. But let me just show, let's do this one now. 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x, right? Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. What does that add up to? Negative 5x. You with me?
Oh, so you just have to kind of do
You-
foil.
Yeah, and you may have to do 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 of these until you find the right answer. Kind of a bummer. It takes a while. Eventually, I'm going to show you a trick, but until the first step is to understand FOIL and how FOIL is your friend to solve these. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so let's try a few. 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. Let's try 3x squared plus 14x minus 5. 3x squared plus 14x minus 5. These may be on the homework, I don't know. If they are, you're lucky. I don't know, maybe they're not, I'm not sure. All right, so immediately I put up my parentheses, right? I notice 3 does not go into 14 and 3 doesn't go into 5, so I can't really factor out a greatest common factor, right? So I've got to immediately try some things. I know what could I put for my first, and my 2 firsts? I've got to, this times this has to equal 3x squared. What would I put? This times this has to be 3x squared, so what would I put here?
Oh, okay, is
3x?
that 3x and x?
X, right? Now, I've got a negative 5. This is really important.
So one of them
Leo,
has
you watching, dude? Okay. Negative 5, right? What are my possibilities? You have to list. You have to list every possibility. Don't leave anything out.
Okay, so
Negative
one's
1,
negative
5.
1, 5, and then 5, negative 1.
Okay, that's fine. 5, negative 1. What else?
And then you could also do 1 negative 5, and then 5 negative
Right? Do you see that? All these, when it's a negative, you've got to list out every possibility, right? Every possibility. So where different ones are in different places and different ones are positive or negative. And now I gotta keep trying them until I get the middle term. Does that make sense? I just gotta keep trying them. So I've got -1 and +5. That's my first one, right? And I'm gonna just write a few up here. I don't really have, whoops. What am I doing? 3x, x, and then it's +5 - 1, +5 - 1. Let's just try these two. So what is 3x plus 5?
Wait, what? 3x plus 5?
Oh, we're lucky. Look at that. 15x, right? -1x is 14x. We did it. So we solved it on the first one. But this, if this had been the answer, it would have taken us 4 tries to get the right
Wait,
answer. Does that make
can
sense?
we do the way that is not as long?
Not today, because you have to practice this part first.
Can we learn homework?
Do you guys feel like you got it?
Yes.
Good enough? Can I
Yes.
just give you homework? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just turn this off.